For 20 years, Margaret Hayes sat outside her backyard shed from dawn to dusk, never leaving her post. Neighbors whispered about the strange routine, but the elderly woman deflected every question. When she collapsed one afternoon, she desperately begged her neighbor to check inside. Someone needed help. He broke the padlock and pushed open the door. What he found made him call the police immediately. For 20 years, Margaret Hayes followed the same routine. Every morning, she carried her chair to the backyard and positioned it in front of her shed. She would sit there from sunrise to sunset, eyes fixed on the locked door. A small cooler rested at her side. Rain or shine, scorching heat or bitter cold, Margaret never missed a day. Neighbors whispered about the strange behavior. Why would an elderly woman spend her entire day staring at a storage shed? What could be so important that she sacrificed everything else in her life? But no one asked. Something in Margaret's expression discouraged questions. Chen became her neighbor 5 years ago. Each morning, he would wave to Margaret as he left for work. She would offer a tired smile and then turn back to the shed. The exhaustion in her eyes was unmistakable. Tom's curiosity grew. He tried asking about the shed, but Margaret would politely change the subject. She was guarding a secret, and she had no intention of sharing it. One August afternoon, Tom pulled into his driveway after work. He glanced toward Margaret's yard. The chair was there, but Margaret was not sitting in it. A chill ran through him. In 5 years, he had never seen that chair empty during daylight hours. Tom walked quickly across the lawn. Margaret was lying on the grass beside the chair, her face pale. Tom ran to her side and checked for a pulse. It was weak, but steady. He called for an ambulance immediately. The paramedics arrived and prepared to load Margaret onto the stretcher. Then her eyes opened. She grabbed Tom's shirt with surprising strength. She begged him to check the shed. Someone was inside. Someone needed help. Someone needed food and medication right away. The paramedics tried to calm her, but Margaret's panic escalated. Finally, they administered a sedative. Margaret's grip loosened. They loaded her into the ambulance and drove away. Tom stood alone in the yard. Margaret's words echoed in his mind. Tom approached the shed and tested the door. The padlock was solid. He called out, asking if anyone was inside. No response. But Margaret's desperation had been real. Tom went to his garage and retrieved a crowbar. His hands trembled as he broke the padlock free and pulled the door open. What he saw defied all expectations. The shed had been completely transformed. A small bed occupied one corner with clean sheets. Medical equipment lined the walls. Shelves held medications, food, and supplies. This was not a prison. This was a care facility. And on the bed lay a man in his 40s. He was clean and well-groomed. His eyes were open, staring at the ceiling. When the door opened, he turned his head slowly toward Tom. His expression was blank. He made soft sounds, but no words. Tom felt his heart hammering. Who was this man? Tom backed out and called the police. Officers arrived within minutes. Social workers and medical personnel followed. They examined the man and found no signs of abuse or neglect. He appeared remarkably healthy, but he could not speak or respond to questions. Officers ran his fingerprints. Nothing came up. The man had no identity. At the hospital, Margaret refused to speak without her lawyer. When her lawyer finally arrived, Margaret agreed to talk. The man in the shed was Daniel Hayes, her son. 23 years earlier, Daniel had been in a catastrophic car accident. The brain injuries were severe and permanent. Doctors told Margaret he would never speak again, never recognize her, never have any quality of life. They recommended permanent institutional care with no hope of improvement. Margaret visited the facilities they suggested. She saw overcrowded rooms and understaffed wards. She saw patients left alone for hours. The thought of Daniel spending his life in such conditions destroyed her. So she made a choice that would define the next 2 decades of her life. With help from a doctor friend, Margaret falsified Daniel's death certificate. She held a funeral. She let the world believe her son was gone, and she brought Daniel home in secret. She converted the shed into his private space. She learned everything about his care. She became nurse, doctor, and guardian all at once. And she sat outside that shed every single day for 20 years, protecting him from anyone who might discover the truth. Margaret explained that Daniel needed constant monitoring. She had to be there because he was her son, and she was all he had. The system had failed him. She refused to do the same. The legal case became complicated. Margaret had broken multiple laws. She had falsified documents, but Daniel showed no signs of mistreatment. Medical experts confirmed he was in better health than most patients in professional care facilities. Margaret had given him dignity. Neighbors testified on Margaret's behalf. They spoke about her dedication and the years she had given up. No vacations, no social life, no rest. 20 years without a single day off. Public opinion divided sharply. Some called Margaret a criminal who had manipulated the system. Others saw a devoted mother who had made an impossible choice. After months of deliberation, the judge delivered a verdict. Margaret received a suspended sentence with probation. The judge acknowledged her crimes but recognized the extraordinary circumstances. Social services arranged for professional caregivers to assist Margaret. Trained nurses would visit daily. Margaret would no longer bear the burden alone. Daniel would stay in the shed that had become his home. Tom still sees Margaret in her backyard. She still sits in her chair, but now professional caregivers join her. The shed door stays open now. The secret that had defined Margaret's life for 20 years was finally free. And you, what would you have done in Margaret's place?